Hi there, I'm Dr. April Saint, and today we're going to talk about self-regulated learning and writing instruction. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to describe self-regulated learning strategies and how those can help with student motivation and student assessment and teacher assessment of their writing. You should also be able to take the resources provided in this presentation and evaluate them to determine what might help right away to improve writing instruction in your environment. When we talk about self-regulated learning, we're talking about students' abilities to monitor their own thoughts, their metacognitive skills, and we're also talking about students' cognitive abilities and their abilities to apply the skills they've learned about writing to their own compositions. We're also talking about skills such as goal setting, self-reflection, self-awareness of their strengths and opportunities, and generally their abilities to be able to say, this is what I'm good at and this is where I really want to improve. And when they become stronger at these skills, it can lead to more advanced skills such as self-instruction, where they can gain knowledge through their own research. As we learn more about what self-regulated learning skills are, it's important to understand why these skills are so important in writing and in other academic coursework alongside life in general. Students who can practice self-regulated learning skills competently are more motivated, they have more confidence in themselves, they gain greater self-efficacy or stronger beliefs about their abilities, and they also develop stronger organization and time management skills. We know through research that self-regulated learners can improve their academic performance across all disciplines. We also know that there are some specific strategies that can help students to improve their writing skills. And the first area that we'll talk about is goal setting. Students can create goals based on their instructor's feedback, peer feedback, and also their self-reflections. They can learn different time management strategies that can help with their writing. For instance, if they're writing a larger composition, they learn different strategies about how to break those larger assignments into smaller parts to make them more manageable, and this builds a lot of self-efficacy and motivation towards writing. They feel more in control of their writing. And the third way is through organizing information. When students apply techniques such as graphic organizers and note-taking strategies, they learn better structure and flow to their writing, and they also often gain greater depth of understanding of the subject matter that they're writing about. As we continue our discussion on how students can use self-regulated learning strategies to improve their writing skills, we can also further our discussion about using more concrete activities, such as what we discussed in goal setting, time management, and organizational strategies. More concrete examples on how strategies can work for students can help scaffold them as they think more about their writing skills, develop stronger metacognitive skills, in other words, and develop more independence for their writing. So when we talk about self-monitoring in terms of writing, we can utilize different concrete strategies like using checklists and helping students to answer questions about their writing as they move through the writing process. And we can also provide some rubrics or simple questions for students to do some self-assessment during the writing process and perhaps at the end of their composition, but prior to turning it in. Using these concrete strategies can help them develop more independence for their writing and help to develop their motivation and their self-efficacy with writing. As we continue our discussion about how self-regulated learning strategies can improve students' writing skills, I also want to take a moment to talk about self-efficacy. That's so important because it's students' beliefs about themselves and their abilities to do writing. Self-efficacy beliefs are built on students' experiences, and having students reflect on those experiences, where they've come from, how they've improved, where they'd like to go next, really helps them solidify the progress that they may not recognize they've made already in their writing. So encouraging students to keep reflective journals and discuss things like how they feel about the writing, where they think that they've improved most with writing, and other reflective prompts can help build their self-efficacy and improve their beliefs about their own writing. As I shared with you, self-reflection is so important. And this is some time for you to self-reflect about your own experiences in writing, because we know that teachers' past experiences with writing can influence how they approach writing with their students sometimes. So I'd like for you to take a moment. You can pause the video and jot some things down about your own experiences with writing and how they may be impacting your writing instruction. And when you're ready, we'll go on to the next one, which is that of the self-regulated learning strategies that we've discussed, which strategy would have helped you the most as you were learning to be a writer? You can reflect back on elementary years, middle school years, high school. At each stage of writing, you probably had different experiences because your development was different during those times. I'd like for you to choose one of those times, either elementary, middle, high, or college, and think about how one of these areas of self-regulated learning strategies might have impacted your writing the most. And when you're ready, we can start the video again and continue. Now that we've discussed some self-regulated learning strategies and how those might apply to writing, I'd like to now offer some specific resources that can help you to go further in depth into these strategies and hopefully utilize these resources to implement these strategies in your classroom. The first is goal setting. The resource I provided you with is one that can guide you into how to instruct students to set specific, measurable, attainable, realistic goals that have a time frame. In other words, SMART goals. And the next resource is one that can help you with teaching students time management skills. I think that it's important when implementing these strategies that you start off with concrete examples that students can use so that they understand the process that they're going through in a more concrete way. And the blog that I provided can do just that with time management, I think. The third area is organizing information. When students have a visual guide about how to organize their thoughts, the way to organize the composition itself, I think it helps them to stay on track and to understand the logic and flow of compositions. Self-monitoring is an important piece of developing self-regulated learning skills in writing. Self-monitoring involves students asking themselves questions about how they're progressing through the writing assignment. And one way to facilitate this is by encouraging students to use a checklist. Again, a more concrete way of referencing how they're doing as they progress through the assignment. Self-assessment is important, providing a rubric at the beginning of the writing process and intentionally asking students to consult that rubric as they move through the different processes of writing can really help them to stay on task and to catch some of the mistakes that they're making early on. And the final piece is building students' self-efficacy. We want authentic feedback for students. We want them to understand fully what their strengths are and use those strengths to build on some areas of opportunity in their writing. So approaching their writing from a strengths-based perspective and giving them feedback that can help them grow as writers is important. So I provided some resources that I think will help to demonstrate how to apply these concepts of self-regulated learning in your writing classroom. Today we talked about some important things regarding self-regulated learning strategies and writing instruction. We talked about goal setting, time management. We talked about how students' self-efficacy can grow from learning self-monitoring and self-assessment skills. And at the very beginning, I also referenced some learning objectives that I'd like to think about now together with you. through the form of the questions below. There are some questions about how you might implement these strategies, what you've learned today, and how you might apply them, and taking a moment to really think about where to start and what's most important to look at right away for your classroom environment would be a place to really explore. So I invite you to consider the things that you've learned today and how those areas of self-regulated learning might impact your instruction in the future. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much.